Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite, June 26, 2021. I got to admit, this was actually a really good Dynamite episode from last night. A lot of fun to watch. Most of the matches were very entertaining. The build-up for next week's episode is really good. Things are looking very, very interesting for July 7th's episode of Dynamite, looking more like a pay-per-view than anything else, and deservingly so, because I'll be honest with you guys, this is the first show. July 7th is going to take place in another arena, number one. Number two, it's going to have a shitload of fans there, at least 10,000 people. And they got a lot on this card. One, Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall will be competing in a strap match on July 7th. As well, added to the July 7th card, we're going to see Ethan Page go up against Darby Allin in a coffin match. This should be very entertaining shit. So I'm looking forward to the July 7th event. That should be a lot of fun to watch. I'm not sure if the coffin match or the strap match will be the main event, but I do believe the coffin match should be the main event, in my personal opinion. I think that would be a great setup for Darby Allin, and especially in front of a large crowd, which they haven't done in a very long time, and that's because of the pandemic, of course. But at the end of the day, guys, July 7th is looking good. Next week's episode's looking good for their final day in... sorry about that, it was my computer. And next week's episode looks very exciting for the last time that they'll be in the daily place. So... things are looking pretty good for the next 2 weeks on Dynamite. But, no further ado, let's get right into this review. The first match that took place was Powerhouse Hobbs and Hangman Page. Hangman Page actually wins the match with a Deadeye finisher, which he hasn't used in a very long time. Usually he's been hitting the buckshot lariat to finish off his opponents in his matches. But Adam Page actually pulls off a very nice victory here at the end with a Deadeye. There was a little bit of distraction at the end. They were trying to interfere, Taz's team, and trying to get the FTW championship belt in the hands of Will Hobbs so that he could go ahead and attack Adam Page with that belt. Brian Cage stopped Ricky Starks from doing that. Taz was a little confused on why Brian Cage was interfering in this. How Ricky Starks got his championship was beyond me. I don't understand that either. There was a little bit of creative logic that was wrong here that I will address as we go further through this. That was one of them. I don't understand how Ricky Starks could get possession of the championship without Brian Cage knowing about it, or at least Ricky Starks attacking him for the belt, unless he just stole it without Brian Cage knowing about it, which that's the only logical answer I can come up with. But yeah, Adam Page picks up the victory in a very nice opener. Felt like a pay-per-view type of matchup, in my personal opinion. So good stuff by both of these guys to kickstart the show. The next segment on the show was Tony Schiavone introducing Tully Blanchard and Conan, which I don't know if this is going to be a full-fledged thing with Conan. I don't know if he's going to be the manager to Santana and Ortiz, or is he just doing this for a one-time only thing? I'm hoping this is a permanent thing. I think Conan, adding more people to the inner circle is a little ridiculous, but Conan was a great manager to Santana Ortiz in Impact Wrestling. They actually had great chemistry, these three guys, and I'd love to see these guys back together again on a bigger stage like Dynamite. So personally, I hope that this continues with Konnan. He was attacked at the end of the segment by FTR and Tully Blanchard. Now, I will admit this. This was a little confusing and kind of a little bit of a logic gap here. You got Santana Ortiz being attacked backstage, but there was no help from the Inner Circle. Why wouldn't they know that they were being attacked? This was really fucked up because later on in the show, Jericho and Jake Hager were being attacked, and Sammy Guevara came to their rescue. So I'm not quite sure what the hell is going on here. That was a little confusing there. I thought that was kind of fucked up, and I didn't really like that portion of the segment. But the things that were mentioned between Konnan and Tully Blanchard was excellent. I love the promo that these two guys cut together. I think it was great work. Konnan still is great on the microphone. He does an excellent job doing that aspect of pro wrestling. Unfortunately, he cannot perform anymore, which I wasn't a huge wrestling fan when it came to Konnan. I thought he was not exactly all that entertaining to begin with when it came to in-ring performances. But as a talker on the mic, he's pretty damn good and a good manager nonetheless. So, let's get into the rest of this show. So we have a matchup with Matt Sydal and Dante Martin. This was an okay match. Two cruiserweight wrestlers performing at a very high level, and Matt Sydal picks up the victory with a lightning spiral. It didn't really keep my interest all the way through from beginning to end, but it wasn't that bad of a match. It was pretty average. Nice little way to add in and take up airtime for the time that they had to fill in. So it wasn't a bad job by them at all on that. Next, we had a backstage segment with Jungle Boy realizes this is the biggest match of his life. Christian Cage says he shouldn't just be happy to be able to get this match. Everything he has done has led him to this point. Omega's only saying what he's saying because he sees him as a threat. Jungle Boy thanks him for the words of encouragement. I actually agree with Christian Cage. This was kind of stupid and idiotic. Why would Jungle Boy... This is the problem with certain characters that they do on these shows. Jungle Boy is in the biggest match of his career. He's got an opportunity to go against a freaking wrestling-like, larger-than-life character, and some people would probably disagree with me, and if that's the case, fine, I don't care. But Kenny Omega and Roman Reigns are larger-than-life characters in modern-day wrestling at this point in time. They're the only ones that are being done correctly anyway. But you're going up against a guy that has only lost one match this year. Let me just put it that way. You're going up against a guy who's won one match this year, has won practically every world title you could possibly gather up besides WWE championships and New Japan wrestling titles. And you're going to go ahead and just be happy with that? Come on, man. You're not Rob Van Dam. You're not Mr. Cool, Mr. Monday Night. And even when Rob Van Dam had that kind of personality, he didn't end up winning anything. He ended up losing and getting screwed. That's what it kind of reminded me of. Back in the day in 2002, not Judgment Day, Unforgiven, they had Rob Van Dam going ahead and walking backstage, and Triple H walks up to him and says, "Man, this is the biggest match of your life. You're going up against one of the best performers in the world of professional wrestling, and you're sitting back here just calm as can be. You should be nervous. You should be tense. You should be mad, full of determination. I don't see that at all from you, man." He came out and he said it. He said, "I'm going to beat you. You're nothing. And that's what I saw here with Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy clearly did not have any determination, no fire in his eye. He's just happy to be there at a world championship opportunity. Like, that's where the stopping point is for him. Come on, man. You gotta have some fucking energy to you. You gotta fucking be intense, be pissed off, be mad, be ready to go and tear this guy apart. And I did not see any of that. Maybe that was their point of doing that so that he wouldn't come across where people would expect him to win. I'm not sure, or maybe that's just the way his character's supposed to be. But bottom line, the guy is going into a match against a guy that's been collecting world championship belts in other organizations, and he's sitting there just, oh, I'm happy to be here. No, man, you can't be just be happy to be there in a world championship match. It could be your last fucking match, which is something Christian Cage did not state either. He could have said, hey, man, you have not made it until you won the world title, and this could be your last and only championship opportunity you'll ever get in your career. And that's what he should say. That's what he should have said, number one. Number two, there's another thing they should have done. Christian Cage shouldn't have been there at all. Why the hell? His slogan has always been, since he came to Dynamite, AEW, is, I work harder than everyone else. Why are you going to encourage other people to do better than you? You're there to work harder than everyone else. Win championships. Be the absolute best than everyone else on the roster. This made no sense to me based on the slogan they've been making him say since he came into AEW. Really stupid, illogical shit. Don't get me wrong, the show was good, but there are some things that took place on this show that was fucking dumb. Jade Cargill, she's another one. She's backstage continuously hyping up her merchandise and her interest by fans, but yet she has yet to wrestle in months. Why? Why isn't she in the ring knocking bitches out? She ain't doing any of that. Her whole thing was, hyping up her merchandise for her shirt that she has being sold on AEWshop.com. Big deal. Who gives a shit? So we have a segment with MJF. He understands why you may be upset with him attacking Jericho's arm last week, but the one thing he can't wrap his head around is why they are upset with what he did to Dean Malenko. Let's be honest, Malenko is old with a bad heart and Parkinson's disease. I hope he doesn't have Parkinson's disease. I thought Dean Malenko is probably one of the best WCW wrestlers on their roster back in the day. And for him to never have a world championship match, forget about winning the world title, just not getting a world championship opportunity back in WCW on Nitro is beyond me. I thought that was really terrible by WCW never to give him a world championship opportunity. He was the essence of professional wrestling, and he was definitely a guy I could imagine him wrestling Ric Flair one-on-one in a world title match or something like that. And they just never gave him that opportunity to do that, which I think absolutely sucks. And then MJF goes on, do you really think someone in that state should have anything to do with wrestling? He gave Malenko something the fans couldn't, which is an early retirement. This led to the Inner Circle jumping the Pinnacle. They make their way to the ringside area, but the numbers game turns into MJF's favor. They go to kill Jericho's arm with the chair, but Sammy Guevara comes to the rescue. Like I just said, why wasn't anyone coming to Santana Ortiz's rescue? I don't understand that. That's really stupid. He takes the chair to the Pinnacle, and they run away like scolded dogs. Guevara challenges MJF to a match on Wednesday night to prove he's the best ever, and you know it. I love this. I hope this, Sammy Guevara MJF, is the main event of Dynamite this coming Wednesday. I'm so glad it's going to Wednesday nights now. I don't have to sit here and do it on the weekends, these reviews. I'll be able to do it right after the show is over. I do apologize I haven't uploaded this video. I know I said it was going to be in the morning. It is early afternoon, 12:37 is what the time is right now while I'm recording this video. But bottom line, guys, I hope MJF and Sammy Guevara get the main event spot on the card next week, and they tear the fucking shit out of each other. I think this match is going to be worth everybody's time to tune in for. Why this match is not taking place on July 7th's episode, I'm not sure why. I think this match belonged on that card, because that card really is coming across like a pay-per-view type card. But hey, it is what it is. I don't really care. Getting this match is absolutely great. I would have saved it for All Out possibly, but maybe they don't want to have to stretch the build out for that long. They just deem it as something that could be the main event of Dynamite, and then lead it to Jericho and MJF going at it at All Out in a complete barn burner of a match, possibly better than their last match, which I think was at Full Gear, to get MJF to be part of the Inner Circle if he was to beat Jericho. But bottom line, this is going to be a huge match and a huge opportunity for Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara is being highlighted as a top star in the Inner Circle, in my opinion. I think he is definitely worthy enough to become a main eventer at some point. I do believe that MJF and Sammy Guevara, though, do have the same, they're about the same age, pretty much, which is great because these two guys could end up having a rivalry for a long time that people will remember for in the history books. I truly believe that. I think these two guys could provide a great rivalry to each other, as long as they don't, do the WWE way, like back-to-back matches. 1 month they fight each other, next month they fight each other, and week after week they fight each other. No, you do it the old school way. You have them face each other the next week. You don't have them do anything with each other for a while. Have it Jericho and MJF. Jericho and MJF, and then we move back into Sammy Guevara and MJF down the road. That is what I would do. I would not dare have Sammy Guevara and MJF go back-to-back with matches with each other and have this repetitive bullshit like we've seen in WWE. Very bad move. I don't know why WWE does that shit outside of the fact they have no creative ideas, or they just don't give a shit, which is more than likely the case anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. So let's move on through this show here. Next, we had Miro wanting to thank God for making him powerful and keeping his wife flexible in bed, I guess. Wow. Brian Pillman Jr. might be ranked number 1 in the tag team division, but he does not respect the champion, and they need to talk about that next week. He's God's favorite champion. So keep lying to the world saying he's unafraid, but it was stupid to attack him. And that's basically it. So Miro and Brian Pillman Jr. will be competing over the TNT Championship next week on Dynamite Wednesday. That should be an entertaining match. I would imagine Miro is going to win that with no problem. If he doesn't, I will be completely dumbfounded by that. So Ethan Page went up against Bear Bronson. This was not exactly a highly entertaining matchup. It was average at best. Ethan Page, though, wins this match with an ego's edge. And that was that. Ethan Page says he's not stupid. This is after the match is over. Because he knows for a fact Darby Allin isn't done with him. Pinning him wasn't enough. He wants to put the final nail in his coffin. So why doesn't he just put him in one? And Page challenges him to a coffin match on July 7th for Dynamite. in a very large venue compared to what the Daily Place has. So that should be a very good match. I've already mentioned that earlier in this video. Britt Baker's backstage. She says she is the face of the whole new era, so she doesn't care who Vicky Guerrero thinks she is, but they will send her home with a nice prescription courtesy of DMD, Britt Baker. Vicky Guerrero is backstage as well. They cut to her, and Vicky Guerrero says Nyla Rose is coming for her title, so she better be ready. Baker and Rebel will face Rose and Guerrero at Fyter Fest 2. I would assume Fyter Fest 2 is night 2. I really don't particularly care. This is meaningless shit. They're probably going to have that match take place regardless, and we're going to see Britt Baker retain her title against a challenger like Nyla Rose. Also, speaking of Vicky Guerrero, she actually was on the show earlier. It was during the match with Adam Page and Will Hobbs. And Andrade showed up. He's flashing off his suit and everything and his gold chain with the Lucha Libre mask pendant that's around the chain and all that shit, and I'm just like, come on, man, get this guy in the fucking ring. Enough flashing off his good-looking Santos Escobar look-alike type gimmick. I mean, he pulls it off a lot better than Santos Escobar, but we got to admit, they really do look a lot alike, based on the way they dress and the way they look. But at least Andrade is by himself. He doesn't have a gang of people around him. He just has Vicky Guerrero as his manager. But yeah, that was pretty much that in a nutshell. Chris Stratlander went up against the Bunny. Chris Stratlander wins this match with the Big Bang Theory and picks up the victory. After the match, though, the Blade and Hybrid attack Cassidy and Stratlander after the match, and Blade gets his brass knuckles back, which was later introduced earlier in the match was introduced, and Orange Cassidy managed to pick that up while the referee was distracted, so there wouldn't be any interference in the match itself to give Stratlander to even the odds a bit. He put the brass knucks inside his pockets in his pants, and that was that. And Stratlander hit the Big Bang Theory to finish up the match. But afterwards, Blade grabbed the brass knucks out of his pockets, hit him right in the jaw while he was being held by Hybrid, and put him on the mat, knocking him out. QT Marshall knows that Cody Rhodes isn't here tonight as he's too busy being followed around by Hollywood. While he does that, he gets to focus on winning a title in AEW. He is set for a strap match with Cody at Road Rager, which is July 7th show. He also talked about the Brock Anderson situation, that he was declared as the best performer of the week by AEW, and he believes this is more like politics than anything else. He's the son of Arn Anderson. It was Father's Day, so yeah, they were going to give that to him, he felt, but he said, hey, who gave me an award for being the best performer of the week when I beat Cody Rhodes one-on-one? So he's kind of throwing a little bit of truth out there, but also a little bit of false information, because when he won the match, he won by cheating. He didn't win it clean. So that's all I got to say on that subject. So the next thing was the World Championship matchup. That was the main event. Like I said, Kenny Omega picks up the victory with the One Wing Angel in a very, very tough match. Kenny Omega, though, I have to say had a slight advantage in the offense in this matchup. It wasn't exactly even. between these two guys. Kenny Omega was more offense while Jungle Boy was on defense. And Jungle Boy fought hard throughout this entire matchup, kicking out of a bunch of pinfalls. But the problem is he just did not seem like he was even, in my mind, personally, was even close in this match. I think Kenny Omega had the upper hand just slightly over Jungle Boy in the offense department, which led to Kenny Omega to actually win the match. After the match was over, though, Omega looks to hit Jungle Boy with the title belt, but Christian Cage makes the save, and the Hardy family, which is Private Party and Matt Hardy, rush and floor Cage to the mat, and Hardy goes for the twist of fate. Christian tries to reverse it into the kill switch, but was later kicked in the face, super kick party, by the Young Bucks, and Hardy ends the show with a twist of fate on Christian, and the Elite and the Hardy family office are happy with their night's work. And that's basically how the show ends. Things about Matt Hardy, my feelings on Matt Hardy and Christian Cage. Do I find it to be intriguing if they were like 10 years younger? Yeah. Matt Hardy and Christian Cage now? Not exactly. I mean, they still probably could put on a good match one-on-one, which eventually is going to happen. I would imagine it might happen or be announced on July 7th's episode that these two are going to compete on that show. I would put that match on that card for July 7th show because, like I said, it's looking like a pay-per-view type of card for Dynamite than anything else. So, yeah, I can imagine Matt Hardy and Christian Cage competing one-on-one on July 7th's card. And bottom line, I think the match would be okay. I think it'll be an okay match to take place. But as a pay-per-view spot, I would not do. I would not do Matt Hardy and Christian Cage. You're taking away an opportunity to younger talent on your roster. I think this is a good place to put on a Dynamite episode. It doesn't need to be on pay-per-view or anything like that. If you're going to put young talent, like a 6-man tag team match on the pay-per-view alongside with Matt Hardy and Christian Cage, I'd be okay with that. But for these two to compete on a pay-per-view card, don't particularly think that's a great idea. These two guys are not needed on pay-per-view unless they are in multi-man matches in a 6-man tag team match or something like that, or a tag team of sorts. But bottom line, I'm not particularly, huge on the Matt Hardy Christian Cage matchup taking place at all. But if it's going to take place, it's better off on Dynamite than anything else. I mean, if you're having a light show and you really want to put this as a main event on a Dynamite episode, I'd be okay with that as well. But personally, as it goes with pay-per-view, no. I don't particularly want to see these two on pay-per-view at all. Competing against each other anyway. Now, if they're competing against younger talent, like let's say you have Matt Hardy compete against young talent like Hangman Page, which they've already done, or have Christian Cage going up against Jungle Boy. Let's say Christian Cage turns heel and you get Jungle Boy and Christian Cage going at it one-on-one, I would be okay with that. But I don't particularly see Christian Cage just randomly changing to heel all of a sudden just because of the fact that Jungle Boy lost the match. And he also made a save, so that would be kind of stupid. I'm just thinking stuff right off the top of my head, so I apologize if I'm not coming out stating logical shit here, but you get my point. But bottom line, this was a good show. It wasn't terrible. There was some logic gaps, as I pointed out in this review. But bottom line, I didn't really have any humongous issues with this show. It was very entertaining from top to bottom. So, I mean, if you guys didn't catch this episode, I highly recommend going back and watching it. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it if you watched it as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you liked the video, of course. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel, and leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that, and I thank you guys very much for watching. I'll be back on Monday night to give you guys my overall take on Impact Wrestling from June 24th, 2021, And again, I thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night and enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Bye.